Please note that the information I share is not a replacement for professional psychological services. It is for informational purposes only. If you are concerned about your emotional or mental health, please contact a mental health professional for a consultation.
Hey everyone, welcome to my video series on the Promise Wheel. Now my book is called The Promise Wheel: Psychology for Growth and a Balanced Life. What I want to do in this video series is take one strategy from each of the chapters so you have an idea of what the book is about, and you'll also have a great head start on doing some strategies, implementing some changes in your life to make it a little more balanced. And today I want to talk about the physical domain, the letter P in the word promise. If you want to address the physical part of having a more balanced life, I think there are three components that's important to address. There is physical activity, diet, and sleep. And today I'm going to focus on one of those three. I'm going to focus on sleep. Now, whenever I'm having a conversation with a client around sleep strategies, there are two categories that I talk about. I talk about their cognitions around sleep, so what they think about, what they tell themselves regarding sleep. And the second category has to do with behaviors. What are they doing to help them fall asleep, or what are they doing that's keeping them awake? So these two topics of conversation, thoughts and behaviors, are what they call cognitive behavioral therapy for insomnia. And that's the strategy I want to focus with you today, CBT for insomnia. And specifically, I'm going to talk about the behavioral component around CBT for insomnia. But before I give you a strategy on how to have better night's sleep, I want to show you a picture of my dog, Zuma. And here he is. Zuma is a 5-month-old mini golden doodle. We just got him a few months ago, so he's already a huge part of our family. And one of the things I wanted to point out to you, and if you're a pet owner, you've noticed the same thing, which is that whenever Zuma, my dog, whenever he hears the sound of food, we have a container that holds food. Whenever he hears the sound of that container jiggling, his ears immediately pop up. So this in psychology is known as the principles of classical conditioning. So what does this have to do with sleep problems? Well, just as my dog responds with his attentiveness and his ears go up to the sound of the food, our bed can also trigger the feeling of anxiousness and stress. So in classical conditioning, the sight of the bed is what they call the conditioned stimulus, and the anxiousness, the stress, the insomnia is the conditioned response. The same way, when we have a problem with sleep, such as insomnia, the sight of the bed and even the sight of our bedroom will already trigger an anxious response within the person. Now, if you've been dealing with sleep problems like insomnia, having a hard time getting to sleep, or being interrupted in the middle of the night and having a hard time falling back asleep, then you know exactly what I mean about the stress you might feel in the anticipation of going to bed. So why is that? What does this all have to do with the food and the learning? It has to do with this, is that when you are struggling to fall asleep, if you are lying down in bed and waiting for like an hour and a half, sometimes 2 hours, and you still don't fall asleep, you are training your brain to think of the bed as a place where you can lie awake. Sometimes it's not even just about laying awake too. Sometimes we'll do our work in bed, we'll read the phone, we'll go through our phone, we might eat in bed, we might watch movies and so forth, and we do all these other activities except for sleep in the bed. But what we have to do is to start training the brain to view the bed as a place where we do pretty much just two things: sleep and sex. That's about it. But if you do anything other than those two activities, you are training your brain to make the association that the bed is for everything else except for sleep. So, what's the solution? Well, there are a couple things you can do. One thing you can do is, when you go to bed, if you are not falling asleep within 20 to 30 minutes, you need to get out of bed and go somewhere else. So many times we lie in bed, and if we have a stressful day or there's a lot of things in our life that we're thinking about, we'll just lie there and just ruminate and think over and over and over again about our worries and problems. And what ends up happening is that the bed becomes associated, or the brain starts to associate the bed as a place where we get stressed and where we think about our problems and worries. And so what you need to do is, if you find yourself doing that, just get out of bed and go worry somewhere else. Go write down your worries, journal about it, think about it, but do it someplace other than your bedroom, because we want to retrain your brain into viewing your bed as a place where you get to sleep and where you have restful activity. Hope you enjoyed this tip, and I hope it helps with your balance and growth. Take care.